Well, hello again. Sorry it's been so long since I last picked up this book. It's been such a long time, but really who cares? This is the story so far. Okay, so somebody dies. We know that much without even reading it first. If they're Cornish, was it said as, "I've been here since I was 2 months old, my mum's travelling, it's identity, what you feeling here?" So apologies to anyone who thinks I sound like I come from Devon. Goes into a little bit about when they were younger, and how his mother started tarting around with men in London, then shoves him off over to his cancerous Aunt Joan. This is such a jolly story already. This whole first 2 chapters just a massive kink fest. We've got short, skin-headed man with 2 big Crab and Goyle style thuggish people. We've got a Cornish nationalist who's a giant of a man who's unshaven and a reminder of Hagrid. We've got a couple of lesbians, one dark, one light, one superstitious, the other ponytailed and beardless. And the mother of one of them is wearing a black corset of a Playboy bunny, accessorized black ears, black stockings with white tail. Dennis Creed was imprisoned, tortured and killed 7 other women. Jolly story, like I told you. Creed's trademark of beheading the corpses of victims, and it stops there. We've had almost every other kind of fetish you can find, but we've not found a cross-dressing man yet in there. I hope you followed that, because I certainly didn't, and apologies once again that I appear to be in my pyjamas and dressing gown. I know the background is different, it's still Christmas time, which is excellent, it suits me down to the ground, not to have festive clutter behind me. I shan't make this video quite as long as the last one in this series, but we start out on chapter 3, and there's another quotation from Edmund Spenser, the Fairy Queen. "But now of Britomart it here doth need the hard adventures and strange haps to tell." Britomart was actually a female knight in the Arthurian story, but we move to a completely different kind of person this time. This is the person that's sort of into strike. "Wanna marry her, you dozy cow." That one. Think so. And now we get introduced to this Robin person. Robin. Had her day gone as planned, Robin Ellicott would have been tucked up in bed in her rented flat in Earl's Court at this moment, fresh from a long bath, her laundry done, reading a new novel. That's all one sentence, but at least there's punctuation in it in the way that almost none of the Harry Potter books did. Instead, she was sitting in her ancient Land Rover, chilly from sheer exhaustion. She's spying on people as she goes. Comes by a Pizza Express in Torquay, and she's comfort eating on almonds. She's watching someone by the name of Tufty, or nicknamed as Tufty, and I cannot read that without thinking of the Tufty Club, where we all learnt about the squirrel that helped us to learn not to get run over by cars when we were very young, with poor Johnny in bed because he's broken his leg. I'm just making myself seem really old now, aren't I? So what, the badges somewhere. So yes, Tufty. He's watching someone called Tufty who wears a badly fitting toupee. We learn that she had an unfaithful husband named Matthew, who she'd been with on and off for a long time, because he'd been tarting around with other people. That's not quite the wording that the author uses, but I'm saying it. They've not got any children, and it seems that she may or may not be with Strike, but the relationship's been on and off with him too. It's very confusing. I hope you can follow it, because I can't. We're introduced to somebody named Saul Morris. Morris was an ex-police officer, an undeniably handsome man, though something about him set Robin's teeth on edge. I know that's an expression, but I don't understand it. Putting your teeth on edge, I mean, I suppose that means you're going like... Does it mean you're going like that? Or like that? So that they'll know... I presume she's going like this and not like that. But that, that technically teeth on edge. Okay, so something about him makes her do that. Okay. Had a habit of softening his voice when he spoke. Okay, so he's talking without needing to move his teeth about. Well, he does move his teeth when he's talking, but not in that. Sorry, Robin said, traffic was awful. This is really fascinating so far, isn't it? Then we're introduced to one Charlotte Campbell. The easy use of Robin's first name and the description of Strike as the boss had also come in for their share of rumination. No, I'm afraid not, Robin said, reaching for a pen while her heart beat a little faster. Can I take a message? Could you ask him to call Charlotte Campbell? I've got something he wants. He knows my number. Will do, said Robin. Thanks very much, Charlotte said, still sounding amused. Bye then. Keep my interest, please. Charlotte was Strike's ex-fiancée. Okay. Their engagement had been terminated 3 years previously, on the very day that Robin had come to work at the agency as a temp. Okay, I'm a bit confused now because I'm not sure who Strike is supposed to be with, her or Robin. This wasn't all Robin knew, because after leaving her husband, Robin had spent 5 weeks living in the spare room of Nick and Ilse Herbert. Does anyone else, when reading the name Ilse in that way, think of...
My name is Ilse Immelmann, and I want to know how many children do you have?
I have 2 girls and a boy.
Oh, a boy. I don't work with the males, because I used to be one.
Yikes.
No? Okay, just me. I'm going to get cancelled in the same way as J.K. Rowling herself for putting that up, no doubt, because that would be unacceptable in modern humour, but nonetheless. So Ilse has struck up her own friendship during time and still met regularly for drinks and coffees. Coffee is a drink. Whatever. Maybe she means alcoholic beverages together. I suppose if it's Tia Maria, it's both all at once. Ilse made a very little secret... No, she didn't. She made very little secret of the fact that she hoped and believed that Strike and Robin would one day, preferably soon, realise that they were made for each other, although Robin regularly asked Ilse to desist from her broad hints, asserting that she and Strike were perfectly happy with a friendship and working relationship. Ilse remained cheerfully unconvinced. Robin was fond of Ilse Immelmann, but her pleas for her new friend to forget any kind of matchmaking between herself and Strike were genuine. She was mortified by the thought that Strike might think she herself was complicit in Ilse's regular attempts to engineer foursomes that increasingly had the appearance of double dates. Okay, when the narrator says foursomes, is she talking about just 4 people together, or is she thinking of something... Is it another kink? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But double dates. Strike had declined... Maybe it's both. Strike had declined the last 2 proposed outings. I bet he did. If he's not into that kind of thing. And while the agency's current workload certainly made any kind of social life difficult, Robin had uncomfortable feelings that he was well aware of Ilse's ulterior motive. Here's where it gets a little odd. She knew, for instance, about the many me or the army ultimatums, 2 of the suicide attempts. The one on Aaron wasn't a proper one, said Ilse scathingly, pure manipulation, and about the 10 days enforced stay in the psychiatric clinic. She'd heard stories that Ilse gave titles like cheap thrillers, The Night of the Bread Knife, The Incident of the Black Lace Dress, and The Blood-Stained Note. Are these real works? She knew that in Ilse's opinion, Charlotte was bad, not mad, doesn't sound like it, and that the worst rows Ilse and her husband Nick had ever had were on the subject of Charlotte. She keeps on monitoring this person at the Pizza Express, that we still don't know much about. Robin's mobile, which was lying on the passenger seat beside the bag of almonds that she'd been gorging on, buzzed. Glad of any distraction, she picked it up and saw a text message from Strike. "Are you awake?" Robin texted back, "No." Okay. As she expected, the mobile rang instantly. No, it didn't. It rang immediately. Same thing, of course. "Well, you shouldn't be," said Strike without preamble. "You must be knackered. What's it been? 3 weeks straight on Tufty. I'm still on him." "What?" said Strike, sounding displeased. "You're in Glasgow." "Where's Barclay?" "In Glasgow." He was ready in position, but Tufty didn't get on the plane. We find out that Tufty's real name is Edward Campion. Except he doesn't, because he goes by several aliases and he goes all over the place and he's leading a double life. Or a treble life. Or multiple lives, because he's with several people, so he really is tarting around. He's a bigamist. And the person in Glasgow is someone else that he's also seeing and he's just knocked up. Not literally, but he's made her pregnant, you know what I mean. He's got, leading a triple life, like I said, 2 wives and a mistress. And he looks like a balding baboon. Alright, so this Tufty fellow looks like this. Unless he puts his toupee on, in which case he looks like this. Fine. Hope you can picture him properly now. That thing is... it has 2 wives and a mistress. Didn't manage to get pictures of him. because they're totally always mini tufties, just like the two in Windsor. Where do you think he's been pretending to have been? Oil rig, suggested Strike. Abroad, Middle East, maybe that's why he's been keen on keeping his tan topped up. I don't know, it's not grabbing me, this story. I can't tell whether you can see that. We go back to this Margot Bambra person that he's supposed to be looking up, this missing person that Strike's looking for. He explains that he saw the daughter. People don't just vaporise. Oh, bit of foreshadowing there, because we learned about somebody disappearing before. I know you, said Robin. The less you find out, the more interested you get. Think I'd have her wife to deal with, unless I got results within a reasonable period. They're a gay couple, he elaborated. The wife's a Oh, yes. She's the lesbian with no beard. Sorry to keep talking about that, but what else can you mean by a bare-faced, really? Yawning again, Robin picked up her phone and called Strike back, because they've been talking on the phone all this time. Get everything you wanted, he asked. Yeah, said Robin. I've got a couple of clear ones of him and the boy taking photographs, one-handedly with the phone to her ear. I've got a couple of clear ones of him and the boys. He's got strong genes. All 4 kids have got his exact features. What, are they wearing toupees as well? Or do they all look like baboons? I can't get that out of my head now. If you're sure, that'd be great, said Strike, now sounding cheerful. If we take her on, we should work the case together. There'd be a massive amount to sift through cold cases like this, and it sounds like you've wrapped up Tufty tonight. The squirrel baboon person. Yeah, sighed Robin. It's all over except for the ruining of 6 lives. You didn't ruin anyone's lives, said Strike bracingly. He did that. What's better, all 3 women find out now, or when he dies with all the effing mess that it'll cause? Yeah, the effing again appears as E-F-F-I-N-G, as it did in the Harry Potter book. I know, said Robin. So you want me to come down to his house in his no was swift and firm. They, Anna and her partner, they're in Falmouth. I'll meet you there. It's shorter drive for you. As she turned the key in the ignition, Robin became conscious that her spirits had lifted considerably, as though a censorious jury were watching, among them Ilse, Matthew and Charlotte Campbell. She consciously repressed her smile and she reversed out of the parking space. I'm very tired right now, so I shan't really do more. I might come back in the same video or in a different one. For now, ta-ta.